Welcome back. My apologies for the lateness. Had to get something charged up here. So I had spare extra phones and I left the other one over there. Oh well, we'll run with what we got. How's everybody doing today? We have a hard shutdown at I'd say about 4:25 or so. So I wanted to think about doing maybe a 4 o'clock stream instead of the 2 o'clock because 2 o'clock was weird. And then, oh boy, somebody's like, we need to have this meeting today, like this time. Okay, sounds good. So anyway, so let's go ahead and chat about phones and custom ROMs. And where's my banner at? There's my banner. We're going to be talking about custom phone ROMs. Are they really viable for regular use? Let's go ahead and check in on comments first. Graphene OS Gang, greetings. Custom ROMs are better than stock, but no one can overcome IMEI information. This is true. Red Phoenix, I don't know, but the switch to Linux, Tom, is a viable source of anything FUS related. It's recently upgraded to Kubuntu 20.04. There you go. Let's see if I've only used Manjaro, Pop OS. Let's see. Needs to be big into Mint. All right. What do you guys think about MS possibly buying Discord? If MS buys Discord, I will be jumping ship from Discord. So keep that in mind, folks. I thought I booted Discord today, and it's not seeming to be started on my system. So let me go ahead and give that another try and see if Discord actually boots. If not, then I guess we'll go without Discord for a while. Whatever happened to Distro Wars? I did not have something specifically planned for today, and I had to come up with a quick moment, and this has actually been on my list to talk about for a while. Anyway, Gnome 40 on Fedora 34 is sick. I will have to go check it out. Gnome 40 seems interesting. Greetings from India. Well, hello, India. He's a-coming. The cat cam. Best cam ever. I know. He's just like, yep. I'm taking over here. So someone walking there. That's right. Yeah, I had to go grab. I booted up and I needed to charge up my EOS phone, and I needed to go get the portable battery charger because I don't use it frequently, so the battery's oftentimes dead. Pixel Experience ROM, love it. There you go. Let's see. In time, custom ROMs have their advantage of providing the latest security patches. If you use a custom kernel, you can get awesome stuff like WireGuard built in. Interesting. Apparently, the Discord is not working right now. There was some update that was pushed that's not automatically updating itself. So since I'm using the Flatpak, it must be that the Flatpak version went a little wonky. So, very interesting. Let me try one more time. And if that doesn't work, let's see. Must be your lucky day. No. All right. Okay, well, we'll just go without Discord today. If somebody wants to jump on Discord and say I'm not monitoring Discord today, go for it because it's not working. And I'm already too far behind to boot up another computer, and we have a hard stop. So I'm not going to worry about Discord today. I'll give it a couple days, and the Flatpak should be fixed. Let's see. Unlock your Poco F1 and have Resurrection Remix with Micro G. There you go. Will you cat take over the channel when you return to your planet? Yes. Afraid of viruses and malware or spyware on those. All right. We've gotten to the bottom of the comments. Let's go ahead and get on into our topic. We were talking about, is a custom phone ROM viable? Let me go ahead and start recording so I can go ahead and have a nice, concise here presentation. And let me switch to that on my backup. There we go. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we want to talk about custom phone ROMs. Are they viable? Before we dive into custom phone ROMs, let's go ahead and talk about should you use one or not. And there's a lot of things going back and forth in this. First and foremost, if you're not going to use custom phone ROMs for the best overall privacy of your person on your device, I would recommend using an Apple device if you are not going to be customizing it. If you are going to be customizing it, Android is better, but it takes a little bit more to harden Android down, which is where the idea of custom phone ROMs come into play. Now, of course, we have a couple of contenders for the Linux phones coming up as well. The problem is the Linux phones are not yet ready for regular consumptible use. They're not particularly good at this point in time. And with that being said, we just, right now, as the time I'm doing this, the Linux phones are just not there yet for mobile use. Hopefully they will get there and we can all be using Linux phones instead of having the two major contenders. So with that, what are custom ROMs? Well, custom ROMs are various builds of the open source aspects of Android. So of course, Google bought Android, which is what is used on the majority of phones. Anything that's not an Apple phone is probably an Android phone of some form or another. And this splits apart into your stock Google operating systems, Samsung, you have your Huawei builds, all these different major phone manufacturers. They take what is called the Android Open Source Project, so AOSP. They take this and they do some form of build, custom modifications or things to it, and then they create their own different operating system. When you go to the store and you purchase like your latest Samsung Galaxy phone or something like that, they've taken that Android Open Source Project and made it their own. They put in their own tools, their own apps, their own devices, and then they flash that onto the phone, and you're pretty much locked into that. However, some phones do have the capabilities where you can unlock it, you can flash your own custom ROMs onto the phone, and that is specifically what we're going to talk about today. There are a number of different phone ROMs that you can use. I've just pulled out 4 of them to chat about today. 3 of these are ones I actually actively have on phones right now. And the 4th one is what is probably considered the best. I just don't have a compatible phone to it, and it's not super high priority for me to go ahead and get that. So with these custom phone ROMs, they take and they'll do some degree, they'll take the Android open source project. Some of them, like what I consider the best as Graphene, this one actually deconnects everything from Google. Basically meaning that the only tracking done on that phone is whatever the carrier can ascertain from your location data from the cell towers. And there's no way to have a phone and prevent that from happening. You can do things like keeping the phone in airplane mode and only checking in every now and again for checking your messages. That is a good way to stay private while utilizing these services. But of course, if you're using an Android phone, stock Android phone, you can turn on I don't know about airplane mode necessarily. You can turn off your cellular data, your wireless connections and things. But as long as you still have things like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, those connections will still feed data back to Google. So what the custom ROMs are going to do is they're going to do some tweaks under the hood. Some of them do a little bit more tweaks, some of them do a little bit less tweaks. Now, with all of these out of the box, generally you lose access to some of those Google Play services, which for me is exactly what I want to happen. But for some of you guys, depending on how you use your phone, this might be a deal breaker. You can reinstall Google Play services on your device. Really, the only advantage of doing this and having a custom ROM and doing that is if you want some other form of theming, or you just want something else in the phone, but you don't really care about all the googliness, no big deal, whatever. And that's okay. That's your choice, your device, your choice. That's fine. And so you take your custom ROM, you add your Google services back onto it, and your phone is basically almost usable perfectly. There is a little caveat. Many of the new banking apps are coming out and they're detecting if your phone bootloader has been toggled, they will not allow to use their apps. This is absolute ridiculous. And if you have a bank that's insisting you do this, I would dump that bank and go with another bank instead. That being said, I don't recommend doing any of your banking on your phone. It's just not secure and private enough. There's too many weird connections going on. There's too many things that apps can do that you don't even realize. It's the best practice to not use banking apps and a lot of other of these privacy-focused apps on your devices. But that being said, if you don't want to do Google Play services, but you do want to be able to run some Google type applications, there is another term that is called micro G. This is an open source version of the Google services, which will allow your phone to do a lot of things as if Google services were installed on the device. And frankly, they do work pretty well on most cases. The last way to go is to say, I don't want anything that seems like Google services at all, period. This is my personal philosophy. I just don't want any of those connections. If it won't run, I don't really care, because frankly, my phone is just used for basic communication and a few interfacing things with my Nextcloud instance, all of which are pure open source capabilities. So these are the directions. So is it viable to use a custom phone ROM in this manner? I want to tell you the answer is absolutely yes, with the caveat that, again, you're willing to be slightly inconvenienced. You're willing to recognize some of the issues with having a phone and connecting with a lot of different services. For me, I have been using Lineage now for, I think, 3 years. I can't remember for sure, but I have not used any stock operating system at all for over 3 years, I think. And when I first put this on, it was like a breath of fresh air because my device became my device again. Now, is this difficult to do? Honestly, no, but you got to use some terminal commands. It does depend on which device you have. I actually, believe it or not, the best devices is the Google phones. They have completely unlockable bootloaders. They have the ability to restore the phone back to pure factory at any point in time. That's why I like those. So I'm actually still running a Nexus 5X. In fact, I love them so much, I got a pile of them. So this one here is running EOS. My main phone, which is in production, is running Lineage, and I have another one over here, which is effectively my backup phone, runs Resurrection Remix. Now, there's some downsides to the way I'm doing these. One of these primary downsides is Lineage on this particular device is not anymore supported. So it basically just goes back to phones years and years and years ago. I don't necessarily have a lot of security updates, but since I use my phone for making phone calls and sending a couple text messages, and that's about it, I don't really care. If you are using your phone for a lot of other services, you can get a currently supported Lineage. Just don't do the Nexus 5X. Absolutely. It is an old phone, but it's an old phone that's very easy to repair and parts are dirt cheap for it. So I'm okay with that. But you can do some of the more recent Pixel phones. You can do a lot of the other phones. And what you want to do is basically head on over to Lineage's website, and you can track down which phones actually have these builds. So just go ahead and track down whatever phone you might want to be looking at, and then you can kind of see what we have. So you can see they're not, let's see, unless it's listed under LG. I don't even think they have the Nexus, the phone I'm using. I don't even think they have it on here anymore. That's how old it is. But you can go ahead and grab any of these extra phones that you have, and you can put Lineage onto these. So just kind of track down the phone that you have. Now there's a few little oddities. So like in Samsung phones, a few of the phones, they'll work on the European versions, but not on the US versions. You want to get online and do a little bit of research about your phone first, but you can see a lot of Galaxies are supported. And this is one of the reasons I like Lineage. Is it's so easy to use. You just kind of click in on the one that you have, download the information, and then click the installation instructions. And you can just go ahead and run through the installation instructions, and they'll teach you how to build a custom ROM on your phone. You have to understand there are always going to be some risks anytime you do something like this, so be aware of that. But nevertheless, this is a good thing to do. So Lineage is the one phone that I use. The other phone I actually have is Resurrection Remix. Resurrection Remix gives you basically Lineage with an infinite amount of easy customizations. Anything from the styles to the colors to the backgrounds. My Resurrection Remix phone, it's really cool. It's just blingy. And that's kind of the cool thing about it. There's just all sorts of different settings, all sorts of different options. Again, my version of my phone is not particularly supported, but there are tons of phones that are still supported. So you can go ahead and hunt around on the website to figure out which phone devices are supported. Now, the next big one that is coming out, and some people love this one, some people don't. I have a whole separate video specifically on E, and that's the phone I have right here. It's still on my charger, and it wants to update itself. That's the cool thing. EOS on the Nexus 5X is still officially supported. It is, I think, the only ROM still officially supporting it and passing security updates. So if I was like wanted to keep using this phone, I could actually do that. And this guy here, it does have an Apple-like appearance to it. So that's kind of what they were going for, although you can customize that. But it does look nice. For the most part, the phone is all open source except for the mapping application. The mapping application is the only thing that is not pure FOSS on EOS. The reason is there is not a good a good map application that that actually works on that's pure open source. And so they have put that in there because of it. They have a good app store that tells you about the privacy notifications. And frankly, it will allow you to download several Google apps. EOS also contains the micro G, so those types of Google Play services will also function on your platform. So EOS is pretty cool. This is also one of the only phones that you can buy with this already installed. They might be a little bit more expensive, but if you are actually wanting to get it, they are now supporting these in US. You could buy them in Europe for a while. So you can actually buy it if you're like, I want to have a custom ROM, but I do not want to, I don't want to risk messing up my current phone installing it. You can actually purchase these, and I'm not sure where you can find them on the US, but we covered it in the news the other day that they do actually have these available now in United States for sale. There's a variety of different phones that you can get. So that's actually a nice option. They also have an account sync system, which you can sync up all of your account systems on the EOS Sync app. Is literally just an integrated Nextcloud Sync app. You can use it. You can create an EOS account, or if you have a Nextcloud build, you can actually sync everything on your device to your own private Nextcloud as well with the integrated app. That is one of the greatest selling points of it. You know, the Linux experiment is right. As far as needing some form of platform integration into it, EOS is actually already does that, which does it really well. Syncs calendars, syncs contacts, syncs your data, everything else. E already does that. The other one is Graphene OS. So Graphene OS, this one takes the approach where EOS says we want to have a custom ROM that's good for the average user. Graphene OS comes out and says we want a custom ROM that is explicitly designed for privacy and security. So privacy and security focused. There are no Google Play services. They do not put micro G on it out of the box that I'm aware of. And so it says down here, Graphene will never include either Google Play services or another implementation such as micro G. This one here, if I had a compatible phone, I would probably be using Graphene OS, because here's another downside of many of these custom ROMs. You cannot relock the bootloader with some of them on. It's going to show you a vendor mismatch. I personally don't care, but for a more, for somebody that's a little bit more concerned, you're using your phone for more real world applications than I do, then that is something you want. Graphene OS and Copperhead OS are the only two I know of that allow you to do that. I'm not even sure if Copperhead is completely viable anymore. They had a snafu and they died for a while. I thought I saw a notice that they were coming back, but who knows. But Graphene OS, this guy here has basically all of the advantages of Lineage. To my understanding, somebody did tell me it does have ADB root, allowing you to modify your custom host file. And then you can just turn that back off. You can run everything just as fine. Graphene OS is the way you want to go if you have the ability to do it. If I upgrade to another smartphone, I will specifically be looking for something to run Graphene OS on, because I think this is going to be the best option. So you can actually install and build. The biggest downside is there are very few phones already supported. And let's see, smartphone targets. So we have crosshatch. So we have basically the Pixel line of phones are supported. And other than that, not a lot more. So that's one of your downsides of graphene. A little bit more complicated, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get running, but nevertheless, it's going to work. So let's bring us into this final wrap-up question. Are these custom ROMs viable? The answer is absolutely. I have used nothing but a custom ROM for about 3 years, give or take, and I forget exactly when it is, as I said at the beginning here. I absolutely have zero regrets. I feel like I have full control over my phone for the first time since I got the first Android phone a long, long time ago. It gives me everything that I need. Now, there are compromises. There are sacrifices. I don't use Google Play services. I don't recommend it. Be like, well, how do I find my way? Get a GPS. That's what they're designed for. You shouldn't be relying on your phone to get you from point A to point B anyway. You should have a car GPS, if not a map and an atlas, and learn how to use them. I don't have a Weather Channel app. That's an interesting one. There's a few open source weather applications. They're marginal at best. What I actually do on mine is I have Firefox Clar that is tied directly to the Tor network, so it's basically an anonymized, and I just created a shortcut right on my phone, and this just goes right to the Weather Channel on Firefox Clar, which means that it's not going to be collecting location data. It's not going to be collecting anything from the microphones or cameras. And I can just click that button. Right there's the full weather in my region. And that works perfectly fine. Works excellent for me. So I do that. As far as I don't use my phone for a lot of cross-syncing a lot of data. If I wanted to, I can use Nextcloud to do all that. No big deal. But ultimately, a custom phone ROM is perfectly viable. I've had no issues with it at all. This is a phone in full production use for my business, and it works absolutely flawless. So I will encourage you guys, look into using a custom ROM, even if it means you go out and you buy a spare phone so you can tinker around with it. And then when you're bold enough, be like, let's make the switch. And hey, it's always good to have a spare phone laying around anyway. If this guy drops in the toilet, I take out the SIM card, pop it over here, and hey, I haven't skipped a beat. So there we go, guys. So are custom phone ROMs viable? The answer is absolutely they are viable. And I will encourage everybody to figure out how to use some custom phone ROMs, play around with it, buy yourself a cheap phone, Amazon, eBay, Craigslist, get yourself some cheap phone that you can put one of these custom ROMs on, experiment with it, broaden your horizons, and see how these phone ROMs work, because you will not go back. They are absolutely incredible. So there's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, thanks for all the supporters who make this show happen. And you can find out all the support links and such in the comments, or in the description box rather, down below. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to a custom phone ROM. Ooh, gotcha, didn't I? All right. Let's see. Let me pop out the chat here, and popping out the chat, let me see if I can move my comments over here and get you guys a good comment view so we can view the comments here. I think I can do that. There we are. Let's make that a little bit wider, though, shall we? What's our time? All right, our time looks pretty good. We've got about 20 minutes to hang out before I gotta go. Alrighty. See, just in time. Custom rims. I use those well, too. Custom rims. Woohoo. Afraid of viruses and malware and spyware on those. No, actually, you should be afraid of viruses, malware, and spyware on your stock ROMs, actually. More chance of them being over there. Especially that spyware. Graphene or Galax on OS or more devices. Yeah, I agree with that. Daily driving Linux on Volia works great. All right. I use it 6 months, and my Pine phone is great. Awesome. So how's the Pine phone working for you in production? Hello, David. You also have a nice week. Thank you. Appreciate all the early adopters of Linux phones. You are making it better for us too, as our OS further develops on phones. Probably my favorite, Foss preaching alien. Woohoo! Hey, man, I got to preach. Too bad he isn't from Elon's. But well, Elon's trying to invade my planet, but we're gonna kick him off. We're not letting Elon on. No, Elon. He can go harvest his own planet. We've pointed him towards a comet he can populate. Experimental for time, but Ubuntu Touch on Voila is it Voila? I don't know. Working pretty good. Don't use banking apps anyways. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Aurora Store is the way forward instead of Play Store. F-Droid and Aurora Droid are great. Yeah, I like the F-Droid because everything is independently audited on F-Droid. But there's going to be some apps that are, it will only have open source apps that they can compile themselves. No banging on phones. Now they're asking us to verify or approve my device. Yeah, none of my bank accounts are actually attached to my phone. Yep. I'm like, you use your phone. You can send money to your friends. I don't want to send money to my friends on the phone. If I want to send money to my friends, I'm going to give them a 20 spot. Okay. I mean, that's the way it goes. About Lineage OS, French startup have launched is it a Load OS based on Lineage with more privacy focused options. Awesome. I've not heard of that one. Is it Iode? Iode. Yeah. Take a look at Iode. I've not heard of that one before. Thank you. Recommendation for anyone interested in Linux and custom ROMs, get a free Vola phone with Ubuntu Touch. I have heard Ubuntu Touch is really coming a long way. Nexus 5X here, Lineage, yep, absolutely. Graphene is good with F-Droid for apps, yep. Hesitate between the refurbished Samsung S9 or go directly full privacy Graphene OS. I would go with the Graphene OS, honestly. If you have the choice, I'd go the Graphene OS. Running Lineage 17, Samsung, absolutely love it. Your Pine phone not too buggy. Okay. Apparently not. Nope. Uh-oh. Oh, there it goes. Say, I think my phone died. Nope. Lost my place, though. Crazy how long Nexus, let's see. Messenger support sucks, though, or not. Because the Pine phone looked very good. Someone recommended a Graphene a while back. They're working on Fedora Arch is the Mobian. They're good at working on Void. There are even crazy people working on Gentoo. Oh, lordy. All Google phones have an unlocked bootloader. As long as you purchase it from Google, they should. I have a Huawei Honor, and it's horrible. They stopped giving the unlock code, and there's no way to unlock the bootloader now. No! If there's anything out there you could put a phone on while you're without... let's see. Anything there you could put your phone in whilst out and about if you want... yeah. So yeah, you can buy those. It's called a Faraday bag. So you can buy a Faraday bag. Or you can just make one of the aluminum foil or a tin box. So yes, you can do that. It's going to block all connections. If you happen to throw your phone in that, turn it to airplane mode first, because if you don't, the phone's going to expend extra power trying to find signal while it's in its box, and it will burn the battery a lot faster. So either turn it off or turn it to airplane mode before putting it in the Faraday bag. But yeah, you can buy a Faraday bag. That's what you want to look for. A Faraday bag for your phone. That's how you can do it. Evolution X. No. I have not. Aluminum foil is the poor man's way to do it. Yep. Yeah, Librem 5 has power toggle switches. Rob Braxman tech video about this topic. Yep, he's got some good stuff on there as well. Yep. Running Lineage on J7 Max. Nice. Is that one of the Samsungs? I tested a Samsung while one of my phones was broken once. I wanted to go off myself. You can see here what you are using. Yep. Do you think Linux can make a great impression on desktop laptop market after the boom in ARM processors? Yeah, they could. that would be pretty cool. You know, ARM processors are super low power. I'm still working on the edits. I just have had no time to edit stuff. I'm working on a big project, which is taking a lot of my time up. So I actually have all the footage cut. I just need to finish the editing and finish some voice overlays. And I converted my NAS into a Raspberry Pi ARM. It consumes 1/3 of the power and the exact same functionality. It's amazing. Do you prefer ROMs with it without G apps? Yeah, I do not use any G apps on my phone at all. LineageOS is really behind on Android updates and the developers not listening to the community. Yeah, that could be a downside. Lineage, who knows? Lineage could be on their way out. There's other things that are starting to come up. So, take a look at OnlyOffice. It's 100% open source, 100% MS. No, it's not going to be any more MS compatible than is LibreOffice. I'll have a look at OnlyOffice again, but I'm not likely going to change because LibreOffice does everything I need it to do. But yeah, maybe I'll have another look at OnlyOffice again, see how it's looking right these days. I've not looked at OnlyOffice for a while. But at the same time, LibreOffice does everything I need it to do. So we'll look at that. LibreOffice is 100% open source. It is going to be as compatible. And no, I will take issue. OnlyOffice is not going to be 100% MS compatible. It's going to be exactly as compatible as LibreOffice is. But that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on that. What messaging app would you recommend? Yeah, Signal would be a good one. I'm actually right now I'm just using Silence. I don't text message a lot, and those that I do, there's nothing in there there's nothing in there more than like I'm on the way and stuff like that, because I hate text messaging. It drives me crazy. So Signal I was using until they were forcing everybody to create a PIN and then we're going to store your contacts in the cloud. Hell no, you ain't, you morons. And they kind of realized after enough community backlash that was a stupid idea. They backed off, but I have not had a compelling reason to go back to Signal again. So Signal is good. I'm using Silence right now. Those are decent ones. First flash your phone. Were you scared? No, I don't. My approach to operating systems in general is I don't mess up my production systems anyway. And so I don't really think much about it, because if I'm like, okay, we need to test something else out, I get another piece of hardware to try it on. And so it takes care of that, because if I only have one phone, like, oh, we're going to flash our phone. No, that's kind of a bad way to do things, because you could brick something and that's kind of messed up. So you don't want to be doing that. Let's see. Just flash Nexus 5 USB ports. Not done much with it. All right. Scared. Still have another one. Yeah, I am not advising people to use Telegram right now. They've gone insane. They have a major privacy snafu that they said, well, that's a feature. We're not changing that, which allowed you to de-anonymize anybody, literally anybody, by spoofing your location data, which is fairly trivial to do. They are now starting to force ads, and they're becoming part of that woke squad. Oh, we don't like what you're talking about. Get out of here. And so I'm not recommending Telegram at this point, because they're just becoming the mainstream. Technically text messaging right now. There you go. Yep. LibreOffice F's formatting on my school docs. OnlyOffice doesn't. I will take issue with that. So here's the question. Is the only issue that OnlyOffice uses DocX by default? Change your LibreOffice to use DocX by default. It won't mess anything up. I promise you. Yep. Because the problem is not with LibreOffice. The problem is with Microsoft Office intentionally messes up open document formats because it does not want you using other applications. So that's my thought. Let's see. Does anyone use Bromite and its own web view? No, I do not. Let's see. We've hit the bottom of our comments. Does that mean we need to feed the kitty cat? Let's feed the kitty cat, and then we'll come back, and then we will wrap up. It's a kitty. It's a kitty. Brought to you by Temptations. Ow! That was a hard bite, kitty cat. That was a hard bite. He's like, I got it. Huh. Huh. Gosh. All right. Let's see. Would you use Linux on your main phone? I would have to experiment with the Linux phone for a little bit. And then what I do when I do that is I'll get the phone, I'll get everything in there, and I'll just go down to Wally World or something and get a prepaid phone card for some whatever company, and then play around with that for a little bit, see how it works. And then if that works fine, I'll just go ahead and switch over, see how it works. With DocX file and LibreOffice Writer, it's not how it's supposed to look. I have never had those issues, and I use LibreOffice in a professional level as an author. So here's the other thing to look at. The next question, if it's a DocX file, do you have those fonts installed on your device? What OnlyOffice might do, some applications do this, is it will bring the full suite of Microsoft fonts with it, but it won't allow access to everything else on there. So if they send you a DocX file with the Calibri font and you don't have the Calibri font installed on your device, it will mess up formatting because you do not have the same font. That's the next thing to look at. So check if the fonts are supported by your device. That's the only issues I've ever seen. The only place I've seen LibreOffice not do a good job is if you're adding, like if you're drawing over the document. That's the only time I've ever seen LibreOffice mess up any formatting. And that's just, I'm not even sure anything will get that perfectly right one way or the other. But that sounds like it's the font support. So if somebody sends you a DocX and you don't have the font in your system, it will change the formatting because the font is not there. So check that as well. Selby, that you have on you live streams from Norway. I don't know where he's from. He might be from Norway. He's from somewhere over there. He's not from the United States. I know that. You'll have to ask him when he's on. Should be hopefully tomorrow. I'm trying to think if I should even cancel the stream tomorrow though, because I need to run out of town tomorrow as well. So I don't know. But anyway, we'll figure it out. So let's see. Interface is similar to MS Office. Again, LibreOffice, you can change the formatting to be similar to MS Office. You need to go into your, into your tools, user interface, and turn on ribbons. So, I mean, all these are things that LibreOffice has been doing for a long time. They're just not defaults. What custom recovery do you use? I use Orange Fox because of automatic ROM updates. I just use, is it Tort, whatever it is, Team Windows, whatever the default, one everyone tells you is. You like keyboard-driven workflows and window managers. They just don't work with my workflow. I've always been like, I use a combination of mouse and keyboard to work more efficiently. So if it's keyboard only, I actually lose efficiency as I'm bouncing back and forth between the keyboard and the mouse. But if I'm working on, on a project, I use a combination of the keyboard and the mouse, which the default layouts on like Cinnamon and other things like it actually matches perfectly. Do you have a video on that? I think I do have a video on that. On the toolbar, I think. Let me see. I'm pretty sure the version I have here, I don't. Let's see. You know what? Let me boot up. Let me boot up Solace. I have a few minutes here. Let me boot up Solace, and then I will go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Because Solace here should have a supported version of that. Let me do that. And I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. Let's see. As soon as Solace boots. Boot, Solace, boot. All right, so here is Solace OS, which should have a modern version of LibreOffice. And what do we got? We got 10 minutes. All right, we're going to wrap up here after I get done with this part here. Woohoo! We got our neat stuff. All right. All right. There's LibreOffice Writer. So this is the latest version of LibreOffice, it would appear. What is the point of going from Google ecosystem for E? Why should I trust E? Everything in E's platform is open source, except for that one stupid map application. So again, like, I wouldn't use their E account, but right here, you can. Here's the tip of the day. Did you know LibreOffice offers a variety of user interfaces? Is that not convenient? This is exactly what I was telling you how to do. All right. So it's over here under View, and I think, is it View User Interface? All right. So View, no, stop that. All right. So you can go with the tabbed. So you can apply to all or apply just to Writer. So here is your tabbed version. All right. And then you have your tabbed compact. You have a group bar compact. Contextual style. Single toolbar. Sidebars. Here's their standard toolbars. So this is generally the one you are looking for. So this guy here, just come on over here. It gives you basically the same layout that you're going to have over there. What LibreOffice has even formatting a book, I can't even get books formatted right in Microsoft Office because this toolbar over here is infinitely more powerful at creating styles, creating and editing your various styles. So if you go in here and just work on things, you know, you can go ahead and set everything from right within here as well. So if you just want to modify these text bodies, you can do everything. Stop it, Solace. Okay, Solace is kind of irritating me in this manner. It's like, I want to move this out of the way of the center of the screen. But anyway, you can come in here and you can just kind of set every bit of the default to something else. So let's go ahead and do that. So now I can actually go in here, and if I just go ahead and set the text body, it's going to automatically format everything, fonts, everything into a single bar. This is something that the other Office applications, it might have it, but I haven't found it yet. But ultimately, this is what you're looking for, the tabs layout. That's actually how to pull that off. All right, so don't save that. Shut down Solace. And okay, so let's go back to this question from Robin. Why should I trust E? Everything they're doing is open source. One of the things I do not like about their platform is if you're using their E account, that is simply a Nextcloud build. And the biggest downside of that is the administrator, whoever administers the Nextcloud account, has access to all of the data that's in there. And so in that respect, you will have an issue with that on the EOS account because they have access to all of that data. So do you trust them? I don't have a problem with it specifically, but if I were using E, I would be syncing to my own private Nextcloud instead. The distro I booted up is Solace. Only way, micro G support. No bloatware, newer Android versions, no stupid bugs like battery optimization, turning itself back on. Yep. Greetings, Farron. How's it going there? Destroy your phone, totally installing custom ROM. Yeah. Your thoughts on Luke Smith? I don't follow Luke Smith a whole ton. I like a lot of the things that he does. I just don't follow a lot of what he does a lot either. So there's my thought. All right, guys, I got to jump off because I have another call to jump on here in just a few minutes, and I want to try and get this guy mostly edited in the processing hopper before we go. So anyway, guys, we will catch you guys later. Tomorrow we probably will have a supporter show. There is a small chance we will not, but we'll kind of see what tomorrow brings. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we will catch you